Hey guys, so today we're going to continue on some more with geometry, and our ICAN is I can identify adjacent and vertical angles. So before we can talk about adjacent and vertical angles and use them, we have to give definitions, talk about what they really are. So an adjacent angle. Adjacent is a word that's used a lot in the English language. I don't know if you have necessarily heard it, but this term is used more than just in math. I'm sorry. My little camera was messing up. But adjacent angles, these are two angles that share a common endpoint or vertex. Remember we talked about vertex yesterday, that's just a point, and a common ray. So that means that those angles are right next to each other. So they are next to each other. And adjacent means that you're beside someone. So these are angles that are right beside each other. We can use all that mathy terms, but these are the angles that are right next, they share a side. So some examples, and we're gonna have to use lots of colors. I'm stealing Emmy's new crayons that she got. So if I'm talking about angle 2, right there, then I could say, well, angle 2 is adjacent to angle 1 because they share this endpoint right here and this side, okay? So an example would be angle 1 and angle 2. Another example, if we're still talking about angle 2, well, what other angle is angle 2 beside? Angle 2 is also beside angle 3. So I could say angle 2 and angle 3. Remember, that's the angle symbol. Well, if we talk about angle 3 is beside angle 2 and angle 4. And we could list out, there's more. So angle 2 and angle 4. Well, angle 4 is beside angle 3, but it's also beside angle 1. So angle 4 is adjacent to angle 1 as well. So angle 4 and angle 1. Okay? So adjacent angles, angles right beside each other. So if we're looking vertical angles, remember your vertical is your jump, how high you can jump. So when they talk about, oh, she's got a good vertical, that means she can jump really high, or, oh, he has no vertical. Well, he can't jump, he can't rebound, most likely. But vertical angles are two angles that are across each other when two lines intersect. And it's also important for us to know that vertical angles are equal, and we will use that later this week, but that's a big idea. Vertical angles are equal. So if we're talking about angles that are across from each other, I look at angle 1. What angle is directly across from angle 1? I go directly across the vertex. Angle 3. Those are directly across from each other. So angle 1 and angle 3. Then we've got angle 2 right here and angle 4 right here. Then we've got angle 2 and angle 4. And that's our vertical angle. So vertical straight across. If you look straight across that vertex right there, those are how vertical angles. It's not 1 and 4 like this. They have to be directly across from the vertex from each other. Okay? Now, number 3 is exactly like your independent practice is going to be. So it says classify each angle as pair, adjacent, or neither. So angle A says angle 1 and angle 4. So if I'm looking at angle 1 and angle 4, well, they're not directly across from each other, so they can't be vertical, but they're beside each other. And which one means beside? Adjacent. So angle 1 and angle 4 are adjacent. B says angle 7 and angle 8. angle 7, and angle 8. Well, they're not right beside each other, so they can't be adjacent. Are they directly across from a vertex from each other? So here's the vertex. They're directly across from it, so that means they're vertical. C says angle 5 and angle 6. Let me get a new color. Sorry, guys. Angle 5 and angle 6. So 5 and 6. So they are not next to each other, so they're not adjacent. Let's see if they're directly across from a vertex. Here's the vertex. They're directly across from each other, so those are called vertical angles. If we are looking at angle 11 and 12, 11 and 12. They're not beside each other, so they're not adjacent. If we look across the vertex, then they're directly across, so they are vertical angles as well. E says 6 and 7. So 6 and 7. If we are looking at, here's 6 and here's 7. They are right beside each other. 6 and 7 are right beside each other, so they are adjacent. And then angle F, or not angle F, example F says angle 4 and angle 9. Angle 4 and angle 9. So 4 and 9. They are not next to each other. 4 and 9 are not next to each other, so they're not adjacent. They're not across from each other on a vertex, so they're not vertical. So they are what we would classify as neither. Okay, so those are the examples. If you have any questions, reach out. I would highly suggest, if you're struggling, use colors like I did so you can see the different angles. Here is your independent practice. You need to make sure that whenever you go to assessments, that you make sure you're clicking the right answer and making sure, like, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll put this one image in for all the questions. Okay. And then if you're at home and you don't have internet, then you need to write down on a piece of paper your answers, take a picture, and upload it to your Jump Drive. Don't try and write on this paper because that won't work. If you have any questions, remember to reach out to me before you click Show Answer. If you're clicking Show Answer before you talk to me, I'm taking 10 points every time you do it. Make sure you reach out to me. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm getting paid, is to help you. Okay? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.